Good afternoon and welcome. Librarians, publishers, authors, illustrators, distinguished guests, and teachers who have all supported the Texas Bluebonnet Award program. It is an honor and a privilege to be the Youth Participant Chair and be a part of this exciting day. We have already had so much fun visiting with Mr. Jeffers and Mr. Daywalt this morning. Last fall, I received many applications from hopeful librarians wanting to share in today's exciting event. The 10 students here today are representing their librarians and students from across the state. How blessed we are to have them all with us. The past 3 years has been an incredible journey, an honor, and a privilege to work with the other wonderful and talented librarians serving on the Texas Bluebonnet Committee. Arriving here in Austin, meeting the students and their dedicated librarians, and meeting Mr. Daywalt and Mr. Jeffers has just been an awesome day. I would like to acknowledge all the librarians and teachers. Thanks for all you do to promote reading to students. I would also like to make note of the many students in the audience who have had the pleasure of joining us today. For me, and like many of you, today is a reminder of every passionate teacher, librarian, and friend that inspired me, my love of reading, and my journey here. It is because of administrators who believe in librarians, authors who write incredible books, illustrators who bring stories to life, and students who read that we are celebrating this year's Bluebonnet Award winner. Please join me in welcoming our 10 student representatives, and they will introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Jackson Ferris, and I am 10 years old and a 5th grader at Lorain ISD from Lorain, Texas, and I am representing District 1.
Hello, my name is Alan Ramos. I'm representing District 2 from Amarillo, Texas at Emerson Elementary School. I'm a 4th grader.
Hi, my name is Angelise. I'm 10 years old. I go to school at Popham Elementary. I'm representing District 3 at Austin, Texas.
Hi, I'm Daniel Riojas, and I'm 11 years old. I'm in 5th grade at Marza Garza Elementary, and I'm representing District 4.
Hi, my name is Gabby Wing. I'm in 4th grade at Stonewall Jackson Elementary School in Dallas, Texas, and I'm representing District 5.
Hi, my name is Hermione Riloba. I'm 9 years old. I am in 3rd grade at Whitaker Elementary. I am representing District 6.
Hi, my name is Nick Reeser. I'm a 5th grader at Liberty Elementary School in Flower Mound, Texas, and I'm representing District 7.
Hi, my name is Amaria Esparza. I'm 11 years old in the 6th grade. I go to Houston Academy in Houston, Texas, and I represent District 8.
Hi, my name is Paola Forrest. I'm 12 years old, and I'm a 6th grader at Burnett Elementary, in Odessa, Texas, and I'm representing District 9.
Hello, I'm Jaden Andrade. I am 11 years old. I am a 5th grader at Crestview Elementary in San Antonio, and I represent District 10.
Let's give a nice round of applause to all our representatives. And now Paola Flores from District 10 will introduce the winning book. I apologize, District 9.
Hi, my name is Paola Flores. I'm 12 years old, and I'm a 6th grader at Burnett Elementary School in Odessa, Texas, District 9. The first time I heard about the day the crayons quit, it was read by my teacher, Mr. Kaufman. At first, when I saw the cover, it seemed to me like a little kid's book, but let me tell you a little about this fun and interesting book. It started in a classroom with a stack of letters on a little boy named Duncan's desk. All the crayons wrote a letter to Duncan complaining about how much and how often they were used, all except the green crayon, who was the only one who appreciated Duncan's work. The letters that each crayon wrote to Duncan were interesting in their own way. This book even taught me a lesson about how important crayons are in our schools. We need crayons to be creative in the things we do. Crayons add color to an otherwise dull world. The illustrations in this book are fun, creative, and interesting. I considered it fun because of the way the pictures are drawn. The creative part of this book is towards the end because Duncan uses all of his crayons in his drawing. Finally, it is interesting from beginning to end because of how Daywalt uses personification to bring the crayons to life. I like this book a lot because to me it was funny with Peach being naked and sad because beige was not used very much. When I took the book to my house, I read it to my family and we all enjoyed it. Now, the author's favorite color is black, but after I finished reading the book, my family and I picked our own favorite crayon. My mom chose red because she has always loved the color red. My little sister picked blue because, well, she's 4. My dad loves green, so he chose green. My dad reminds me of the green crayon because they are both thankful and happy. My favorite color in the book is purple because I also like to have everything nice and neat. I really enjoyed reading The Day the Crayons Quit by Daywalt. And if you haven't read it, I encourage anyone of any age to read it and enjoy it. I would now like to introduce Jaden Andrade of District 10, who will introduce the winning author and illustrator.
Hello, my name is Jaden Andrade. I am a 5th grader at Crestview Elementary in Judson ISD in San Antonio. I want to tell all of you about the amazing creators behind Texas Library Association's award-winning book, The Day the Crayons Quit. All things start with ideas, and the ideas from a book come from and belong to the author. Crayons is filled with amazing ideas and insights, so this book obviously has a great author. And this great author's name is Drew Daywalt. Okay.
It's just as I wrote it. Keep going.
Okay. Mr. Daywalt is extremely funny. Okay. While living in a haunted house and attending grade school in Ohio, he was a class clown, and that pretty much explains everything. Okay. He graduated from Emerson College in Boston with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Creative Writing, having a double concentration in screenwriting and children's literature. Did I mention his favorite color is black? During his childhood, he would have probably had his mom reading Dr. Seuss books to him. Another favorite pastime was watching Jack Arnold monster movies and Hammer horror films with his brothers. After graduating, he went to work as a filmmaker in Los Angeles. Today, he still lives in Southern California with his wife, 2 kids, and a German Shepherd. In the film industry, he mostly made, you guessed it, horror films. But he also made other videos too. He directed and wrote movies like Stark Raving Mad and short films like Cart Driver. He even wrote shows for Disney and Universal Studios. After a while, he decided to try something other than screenwriting. How about book writing? He would put his knowledge of writing and children's literature to good use. There was a problem though. He wasn't able to draw the pictures himself. So, after Michael Green from Philomel Book Publishers bought Drew's first manuscript titled The Day the Crayons Quit, Michael paired Drew with Oliver Jeffers, who would later illustrate the book. There was a good reason Oliver Jeffers was chosen. Originally from Belfast, Northern Ireland, he now works and lives in Brooklyn, New York. Mr. Jeffers graduated from the University of Ulster in Ireland and then started his career as a book writer and illustrator. He has written many award-winning books, such as Stuck, The Whoies, and This Moose Belongs to Me, along with more bestsellers. Since 2004, he has won numerous awards in both the U.S. and the United Kingdom for his illustration and picture book making. An interesting fact to note about him, Oliver is right-handed, but he drew most of the pictures for crayons with his left hand. Due to their sense of humor and experience with children's books, this creative duo was able to write and draw an amazing thing. Wow, who knew authors and illustrators had such incredible histories? No wonder they won. You heard Paola tell us about The Day the Crayons Quit. Now you know more about the creators of the book. So, I would like to turn the mic over to Daniel Riojas of District 4. Thank you.
Do I actually get the pieces?
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award-winning author Drew Daywalt. Paper wasn't here. Oh, here you go.
Do we stand up?
No.
Oh, okay. Hello. Oh, you gotta do your thing first? Yeah. Okay. 1 second.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winning illustrator, Mr. Oliver Jeffers.
Thank you very much. I can do it now? Okay, cool. Good job. Hello, everybody. My name is Drew Daywalt, and I'm from District 13. I'm going to move the thing that the kids were standing on, otherwise I'm 8 feet tall. It's so nice that they represent all the districts. It's a shame they have to fight to the death, though. I will not mess with Texas. As a resident of California and Oliver as a resident of New York, we wanted to show some solidarity. And we found out this is the Bluebonnet Award. So we thought it would be appropriate if we had blue bonnets. You guys, you can all put on your blue bonnets now. Oh, this is awkward. I dyed these the other night. They only sell white ones, and I had to dye these, so my hands are blue. Is it on? Can you guys see? Hey, I got blue hands. It's from the back thing. Do I have hat head? No. I promise I'm not texting. Hold on a sec. Broccoli. It's my wife. Oliver's texting me. No, my speech is on here. Actually, do you guys want to take a selfie? Like a really huge TLA selfie? Should I wear the bonnet for it? Yeah! You Twitter it. Oh, yeah, you know what? I will Twitter it.
I guess I have to do this as well, right?
Yeah, okay, get over here, Oliver. We're going to make sure you see. All right, thank you. My apologies to you guys, and you guys, I don't know if you made it in there. Now I know I have hat head. Oh well, you just have to love me this way. Oh, back to my notes. Awkward silence. Eye contact. Start with a joke. Okay, all right. A lot of people thank their librarians for giving them a book. I wanted to start this speech with talking about a very special librarian who's special to me, who didn't hand me a book, but she, as you guys I'm sure know, you got to put the right book in the right kid's hand. When I was a kid, we didn't even have VHS at the library yet. As I'm sure a lot of you had the same situation. It was mostly books, but at our local library we had 8mm film strips. Did you guys ever have those when you were kids? And there was this case of 8mm film strips. And I liked books, but I didn't love books. Movies spoke to me, ironically. So I was always looking at this case of...
Remember what we told the kids? Remember?
You know what? She said if I wasn't funny, she'd take the award back, too. Can you hear me now? Okay. So this librarian saw me. I think her name was Mrs. Lee, and I know her name is Mrs. Lee, and it was a local public library down the street from my house. Every week, I would go to the library, and I would be looking in this case of 8mm film strips, and I started checking them out, and I would check out one every week or so, and then I'd bring it back, and she's like, eventually she saw that it was like Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston, and but they weren't the whole movie. It was like 10-minute clips, you know, and you could watch it, and it had a little bit. Sometimes it had sound, and sometimes it didn't. And she's like, I had the Star Wars. It was a great scene from Star Wars that I kept renting over and over. And she said, you know, it's wonderful that your parents are letting you use their 8mm movie strip to watch these. And I said, well, we don't have the money for one. I just take these home and look at them. And she's like, well, how do you look at them? I'm like, well, I put them up to the light, and I go really fast, and I can kind of get it. And she's like, you poor thing. And she went against the library rules, and she let me take home the projector and said, don't tell anybody, but bring it back tomorrow. So I watched like Robert Altman's MASH and all these other movies, little clips, and ironically, this is a librarian who got me addicted to film. But she knew the right media for the right kid. And over the last, 10 or so years, I've started seeing media specialist as a title. And I was like, well, that's media specialist. It's like, what's a librarian? And it's like, now we're integrating all this technology, we're integrating all of these different fields of media, but it's been there all along. And for the right librarian to put the right thing in the right kid's hand, it's a miracle and it's a cool thing. And it's her fault that I went to become a screenwriter. So thanks, Mrs. Lee. I never got a chance to thank her. She passed away before I could get back to my hometown years later when I realized how integral she was. So on behalf of all the kids you guys have helped, that haven't thanked you or may never get a chance to thank you very much. All right, books move. Thank you, Mrs. Lee. You guys are awesome. You're gonna die before they can thank you. Okay, now let's. You're welcome. Have a nice day. Now let's talk about how a screenwriter with no experience in children's book writing or picture book writing came up with The Day the Crayons Quit. Because I want to tell the story behind the book. You guys know the book. Oliver's got a great story next, and I will sort of be the lead up to that. People say, well, how'd you do it? What'd you do? It's like, well, picture books for dummies. It works. And they laugh, and I'm like, no, really, I have a copy at my house. It's all dog-eared and beat up, and it was a great book. It was like, because I was like, this is how I'm going to do this. In truth, though, it's a 20-year journey for me, because when I went to Emerson College, as the kids knew, which is like really like, how'd you investigate me? But I had a teacher at Emerson College. You guys might know him. His name is Jack Gantos. Yeah, Jack was. This was in the '90s, so he wasn't Mr. Newberry. He was just Jack, the cool teacher who swore a lot. And he, wow, he was a drug dealer and went to jail. He was the coolest teacher ever. But turned his life around, kids. Don't do that route. And for 4 years, I took his class, so 8 times every semester. And it was a creative writing class, and he said, just take the class again. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the class again. He's like, write something new. I'll give you a new grade for it. And I did. I took it. And it was irritating to the other students because he hated to give out good grades. He was so stingy. I got the A every time. And by the end of my time at Emerson, he said, all right, you've got to just go to New York and write kids' books. And I was like, yeah, but this is only part of my major. I want to be Quentin Tarantino, not Dr. Seuss. And, he was really emphatic. You got to go to New York. You got to get into Kid Lit. You have been genetically designed to deal with kindergartners. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. Go there. So, because he's smarter, wiser, knew what he was doing, I did not listen to him. And I quickly moved to Los Angeles and made a living as a screenwriter. I was not a household name, but I had a good middle-class living. And then I did a script that I wrote and directed for Quentin Tarantino. I got there. The movie flopped. You haven't heard of it. And I went, and that's 10 years into Hollywood. I was like, you know what? I'm going to write that kid's book. So I write the kid's book. This is 2003, and it's a book about crayons. You guys want to see the actual box? I saved it because I'm superstitious. This is the actual box of crayons that in 2003 I picked up off my desk and went, kids like these. I like these. Dogs like them. They puke them up in a rainbow, but... And you want to see something funny? The kids will like this. That's Naked Peach crayon in real life. And when I pulled it out, I'm like, what do I write about this book? And I decided to use personification. I was like, he's naked. Normally it's like, crayon without a wrapper, but this is like, so it was a real easy write, and it wasn't in the first draft either. I told him I'd self-censored. Michael's like, we need a few more crayons. It's 40 pages. And I was like, well, I got the naked one, and I didn't include it because it's dirty. And he's like, no, with kids it's not dirty, it's bath time. And I was like, well, I got a naked crayon. And I'm like, well, good luck drawing that one, Oliver.
You left him in the box.
I did. Well, you left him in the box. I was like, who knows what he's going to draw. Okay, so 2003 I write this, and I decided to submit this to one agency, Jeff Dwyer and Elizabeth O'Grady. And they immediately accept it, and Jeff Dwyer is a dear friend of mine. Do you guys see Jaws? Remember Quint from Jaws? He'd killed 100 sharks, and he's been doing this for years, and he remembers representing all the people around Dr. Seuss, and he was in his 70s then. He goes, all right, I'll represent you. You can dot your I's and cross your T's. You're not a total idiot. Real words. I'm just happy to have somebody representing me, because I'm like, well, I'm on my way out with the movies. And he's like, and don't call me back, because it's going to irritate me and frustrate you. I'll call you when I sell the beep, beep, beep thing. Okay, I won't call you ever again. And I was like, I thought Hollywood was tough. Children's publishing is a... So this is 2003. He's going to represent me. He's like, I'll call you when I sell it. 2009, 6 years later, Jeff calls. I sold your manuscript. I'm like, who are you? Are you still my agent? He's like, yes, I'm your beep, beep, beep agent. I've been trying to sell this beep, beep, beep script for 6 years. You want to see the rejection list? And he's like, we got a great deal. Philomel has purchased the book, and they're going to have Oliver Jeffers draw the thing. And I'm like, after that, I went right back into Los Angeles and back to screenwriting, and I didn't know this world. I didn't know the authors. I didn't know the illustrators. I'm like, well, Philomel sounds like a cute little thing out of Connecticut. Oliver Jeffers is a nice name. I just didn't know. What I didn't know is if you translated that into Hollywoodese, it's, oh, Warner Brothers and Legendary are doing your movie, and David Fincher's directing. And I had no idea how I had sort of slipped in poop and fallen in roses. But I quickly learned how broadly fate had smiled on me that day with Oliver. He's just a wonderful human being. Naked Peach. Okay. So, this is cool. All right, so 2014 rolls around. It's a bestseller. It's been a bestseller for 55 weeks. At number 1 for 55 weeks. Thank you. I was going to say I'm not bragging, but I am totally bragging. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It's a personal and professional renaissance. And my phone rings. Guess who it is? Jack Gantos. 20 years after the fact. And you know what he says? This is all he says. I told you so, you idiot. So Jack and we decided to meet up in New York, and I said, can I buy you a coffee? And apologize, because it's like Obi-Wan goes to Luke, and he gives him the lightsaber, and he says, no, I want to work on moisture evaporators with my Uncle Owen. I don't want to be a Jedi like my father. And then 20 years later, he comes and rescues a now middle-aged princess, and he's like, thanks, Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan's like, you're an idiot. So what I had to do is I went to New York, and I had to sit down with Jack Gantos, and you guys know how funny and acerbic he can be, for 2 hours of, I told you so. And it was totally worth it, because he also said, welcome to the club, which was incredibly nice. Thank you. Okay, so here I go with my phone again. Jack Gantos, you're an idiot. It's been a long and interesting story how I went from, I'm thinking I'll write a picture book about really angry crayons to, thanks for the Bluebonnet Award. It's a huge team effort. Books are always a huge team effort. There's always like 1 or 2 names on it, but there's like an army of people out here behind every book that's like, they don't get their names on the front, like the editors don't get their names on the front. I'm actually one of these people who thinks editors should have their name on the front, because they do so much work, and they're there every day, and they're there before it starts, and they're there after it ends, and then Oliver and I get to show up and take all the glory. So I want to thank some folks. First, I want to thank Jack Gantos as my friend and mentor for being the first to believe I could do this. Sorry it took me so long. And yes, you were right. I want to thank Michael Green of Philomel and also Brian Geffen for believing in this, because at the time it had 6 years of rejection notes. 6 years of, what? Talking crayons? He's an idiot? To which somewhere in the world Jack was going, yes. It was an edgy book. It was misanthropic. We use words in there that you don't see in a lot of books, like tattletale and whiner and hate. But these are words that children hear lightly every day, and I do believe in appealing to that darkness in reality. Even though it's about talking crayons, I wanted them to read this, feel these emotions, and also understand and relate to the crayons, because I'm sure all these kids have heard these things and they've been in these situations. I got to thank Jeff Dwyer and Elizabeth O'Grady for believing in me so strongly that they had 6 years of long rejection letters. He finally sent me the stack, by the way. He's like, well, you're in the New York Times. You can see the stack of rejection letters. I'm going to FedEx it to you. And it was like a Sears catalog. I was like, this sucks. It's kind of undoing the list now. Jeff's like, you can take it. I have to thank Oliver Jeffers, who's a dear, dear friend now, for coming on board and giving life to my text, and he's going to tell a little bit about that story. and he's an incredibly fun and creative partner. I love you. You're awesome. Finally, someone in my life who's quirky and weird as me, which is also cool. I want to thank the TLA and that you guys are such champions. You know, you get this book and you put it in kids' hands and you say, read it or you get the switch. And out of fear, the children voted like we'd planned. All the children from the districts no longer have to fight to the death, which is good. We have spared you. I'm dying for your sins. I want to thank, the committee. You guys are awesome. You are the champions of champions. I'm so grateful for everything that everyone's been doing. And I specifically want to thank an unnamed 5-year-old boy who hugged me and kissed me. He raced against security, busted through security in the classroom after I did a school visit. And he hugged me and he kissed me like I was Santa Claus. And he wouldn't let go. And I was like, I'm not going to let go either. This is kind of awesome. And then I realized this is so much better than Hollywood. So, yeah. Thank you. And when that little boy said, thank you, Mr. Daywalt, for writing this book, I said, thanks for changing my life. I'm here now to stay. So I'm hoping to be in libraries for a long time. I have to thank my kids, who I steal ideas from daily. But it's going to pay for their college, so, So thanks, everybody, for the award. It's awesome. You're awesome. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Oliver Jeffers. You might remember me from such Texas Bluebonnet Award luncheons as the one last year where I was sitting out in the audience. And because I got to see firsthand what a big deal this award is, I actually took this quite seriously. Normally I'll just come up here and wing it, but I actually wrote a speech, and I'm going to try and now do my best to stick to it as much as possible and not go too far off topic, or at least find my place again. So I would like to thank you all. No, I must admit though, I am a bit nervous about coming here in front of so many librarians. Don't be mistaken, I love librarians. I'm just not sure if you all communicate internationally. So, just to be safe, I want to come clean. I've got a 25 quid fine to my name at Belfast Central Library. I accidentally packed my library copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People when I moved to the States 8 years ago. I'm only joking, it wasn't that book. It was actually 50 Shades of Grey, but that's a little embarrassing. It's just so steamy. And I keep forgetting to send it back. So that feels good to get that off my chest. Phew. Sincere apologies. And then, of course, there's the bit of trouble that I got myself into with librarians after I published my third book, The Incredible Book-Eating Boy. I got a few letters from libraries with some none too pleased letters after a few kids took that one a bit too literally, despite the waiver on the back cover and much to the detriment of library property. But I'd like to point out I've always encouraged kids to consume books, but going forward I will make an effort to endorse voracious reading. I downplay the whole eating thing. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm all the more grateful for this award. Without the librarians putting these books into the hands of children who then vote for it, that's what really makes this award special, is that it's not from peers, it's not from academics or people who think they know, it's from kids, and they, trust me, do not do anything other than speak from the heart. I have talked in front of adults before, and adults at least have the decency to stare through you if they're not listening. Where if you don't have kids' attentions, you'll know it. So there's an honesty there that I really appreciate. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that I'm grateful for this award, and I'm going to put past offences behind me. So I hope I'm forgiven, and I want to prove myself as a reformed and upstaffing patron because I immensely value librarians and the important work that they do. Picture books provide young people with some of their earliest exposure to art and design. When I was once asked by a well-known someone who's a lot wiser than I am, what I did for a living, and I responded that I write and illustrate children's picture books. Normally you get, oh cool, but this guy said, "Wow, what a responsibility." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, what a responsibility. You're a child's first point of entry into their cultural world." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." It's not the normal response I get, but I suppose they were right. And so I'd argue now that many a child's first museum experience is had when poring over picture books at their local library. And this makes our librarians liaisons of culture, helping any child gain access exposure to worlds beyond their own life. Once a picture book leaves my studio, I make the books in isolation on my own, and then I send them out into the world. And I can only hope for the best. And so it's thanks to the people who care about the books that put them into the right hands for the people who enjoy them. You really are truly cornerstones of your communities, and so I want to personally thank you all for that. And Drew and I are so touched that all of you share your love for this book as much as we do, this disgruntled cast of characters and all. I have a theory that the day the Crayons Quit has such wide appeal is because, let's be honest, who doesn't love a good old moan every now and then? Growing up in Belfast in Northern Ireland, we took our moans very seriously. I learned the importance of protest at an early age. And my world was full of bright murals expressing bold statements, quite like the row that orange and yellow have over the true colour of the sun. The murals of my youth vied with each other for the true colours of Northern Ireland, green, white and gold, or red, white and blue. And these public art statements not only helped my visual literacy, but they were also the foundation for my belief in freedom of expression. And I like to think that the young readers of this book might follow in the steps of the Crayons, who are undoubtedly unspoken champions of their causes, albeit they're a bit smidge petulant. Then again, so are the causes in Belfast, really. Moreover, I hope young readers follow in the footsteps of Duncan, who not only listened to the Crayons' plight, but responded with creativity and compassion. My admiration of a good moan aside, I was trying to pinpoint what originally drew me to this manuscript, because I don't typically illustrate books that I haven't also written, which is a testament to just how much this one captured my attention. My editor knows that I'd normally not even consider looking at a manuscript by somebody else, so he did not attempt normal measures. This is a true story. During a meeting in his office, he excused himself, says, "I'll be back in 5 minutes. Do not look at anything on my desk." So, naturally, being the curious sort of person I am, I went right over and read what was on his desk, and it was this manuscript called The Day the Crayons Quit. And as soon as I read it, I knew I had to bring it to life. Not that I wanted to, but I had to. I could quite clearly see how it had to be, how it should be. And I knew that if I didn't do it, somebody else was just going to mess it up. So I love the clever way it made colour education so engaging. For example, it touches on the great conundrum of how do we all know that if we all perceive colours the same way? Who is to say that a cowboy isn't actually pink, or that a beach ball can't actually be black? And, is the sun orange or is it yellow? I could definitely emphasize with these particular crayons, because I, believe it or not, failed a colour blindness test when I was a kid. I was quite miffed to have someone telling me the colours that I saw were wrong. But now I'm not implying that I want to illustrate this book solely to prove my primary school eye examiner wrong. However, while I have this opportunity, I would like to say to Dr. McGill, I respectfully told you so. So, right after reading the manuscript, Michael Green, the editor of this book, and I went out to lunch at a place very near Penguin's offices in Manhattan called the Ear Inn in Manhattan. And it's called Ear because it has a neon sign outside that says Ear. It used to say bar, but the right-hand side of the letter B stopped working in the 70s, and it's been called Ear ever since. But in there, the tables have paper tablecloths, and there's boxes of crayons on every table. You don't find a lot of kids in there necessarily. I actually don't find a lot of kids in Manhattan in general, but you often find business managers and finance guys writing very important notes to themselves in crayon, and I've always found that pretty brilliant. And so when Michael and I went there for lunch, and I was asking him who was illustrating this manuscript that I had just illicitly read, he replied, "No one. Why are you interested?" It's like, he had set a trap. Well, of course I was interested, because as I said, I'd be annoyed if somebody else didn't do it correctly. And I began to explain to him how it should be kept simple. It just needed to be kept simple as possible, with the letters on the left-hand side and the crayons and their subsequent scribbles on the right-hand side. And just to demonstrate, I started drawing on the tablecloth in crayon, of course. And that's when it dawned on me that I should just illustrate this book itself in only crayons. That would allow me to ditch all the bells and whistles and really let the crayons take center stage, just as they had demanded. There is something really exciting about making a picture book in a medium that speaks so universally to childhood experience. Despite the fact that in my childhood, the crayons were essentially just missiles rather than for artistic expression. But that was only when we ran out of shoes to throw at each other. Nevertheless, I hoped illustrating a book in crayon might make the work more accessible to young creative spirits and embolden their colouring endeavours, and perhaps kids would feel empowered knowing that all they need to make a publication where the image is some old paper in a box of 12 colours. Honestly, I couldn't have illustrated this book without kids. As somebody mentioned earlier on, the art for this, I needed to make it look like they were being drawn by a 6-year-old, and that's quite hard to do when you actually know how to draw, and whenever you force it, it just seems forced. I did some with my left hand, but then I also went to some 5-year-old friends that I have and asked them what they would draw and how they would draw it, and it turns out they're much better at drawing like Duncan than I am. So I had to solicit their help a little bit for art consultation. And even in 3 places, some of the things that they drew were just so good, I had to put them in the book. I'm not going to tell you where. I'm going to let you speculate. But I don't think we could actually credit them in the book because of child employment laws. So I'm realizing I'm probably going to regret saying all this for many reasons, but mostly because whenever Penguin decides to replace me with a team of 6-year-olds and a couple of boxes of Crayola, so I better zip my lip before I get myself into more trouble. But I do want to honestly thank all of the children who voted, Drew for writing such a great book, and all of the people involved with the publication of it, all the librarians, and yeah, there's more to come.
Thank you so much to both of you. And to Mr. Jeffers, I would like to say, I'm glad you're nosy and that you read the manuscript. And thank you for sharing your incredible talents. And to Mr. Daywalt, I would like to say, better late than never. We are glad that you are with us.